Hi kids, welcome to Mrs. Nancy's Bible College for Kids. Today's lesson is in the Old Testament in the book of Exodus. That means to go out of. So it's a wonderful story, and I entitled it The Baby in the Bulrushes. Let's go ahead and get started. Excuse me. The children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. Joseph had led the children, but Joseph is now dead. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest, here's what he's afraid of, they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, that they'll join themselves into our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramesses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. They put them through it, children. They was making their lives awful. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. They didn't take no 10-minute breaks or have a coffee break or have a leisurely lunch. They worked, and they worked like dogs, is what the old saying used to be. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives. A midwife is someone that delivers babies, like a doctor, of which the name of one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah. And he said, When you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives, they feared God, and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives, and said unto them, Why have you done this thing, and have saved the men children alive? And the midwife said to Pharaoh, Because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively, and they are delivered ere the midwives even come unto them. In other words, they were saying they're so active that they have the babies before we can even get there. Therefore, but God was paying attention. The king was mad, but God said, God dealt with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared God, that he made them houses. I love that statement. And Pharaoh charged all of his people, saying, Every son that is born you shall cast into the river, and every daughter shall live, or save alive. And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could not longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein, and she laid it in the flags by the river's brink. And his sister stood afar off. Now imagine this sister was Miriam. That's the only one that they give the name. To wit, what would be done with him. She was going to spy and see what happened. And the daughter of Pharaoh, the leader, came down to wash herself in the river. Back then, we didn't have indoor plumbing, and people would go to the rivers to wash themselves. And her maidens walked along the river's side, and when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. That means go get it. That's a country term we use. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him, and said, This is one of the Hebrews' children. Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, Shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee wages. Man, what a good deal. Pharaoh's daughter finds this baby, and she's going to hire the woman, the mother of this baby, to raise this child for her. So she gets her baby back, and she gets paid for it. And Pharaoh's daughter said, Take this child away and nurse it, and I'll give thee thy wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses. And she said, Because I drew him out of the water. The name Moses means drawn out of water. And it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren, and looked on their burdens, and he spied an Egyptian, smiting a Hebrew, that's his people, one of his brethren. And he looked this way and that way, and when he saw there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. Well, this is kind of a short story, but he started to deliver Israel from the Egyptians. And so I just wanted you to know this. It's a fascinating story and a wonderful outcome for this child. The baby in the bulrushes was who? Moses. So now let's get on with the questions and answers. What was Egypt filled with? All the children of Israel, wasn't it? What did the new king that didn't know Joseph think when he saw all the Israelites? They are more and mightier than we. What was he afraid of? If there was a war break out, they could gang up against us or join forces with them other armies, and we would be had. So what did the king do? He put people over the Israelites to afflict them and to make them work hard. And what did they build for Pharaoh? 2 treasure cities. Can you remember the names of them? Pithom and Ramesses. When they afflicted the Israelites, what happened? Did that work? No, it didn't. They just multiplied and kept becoming greater and greater, didn't they? What were the children of Israel working with? Mortar and brick in the field. What did the king of Egypt tell the Hebrew midwives? And what is a midwife? A midwife delivers babies. And he told them, every boy that's born of the Israelites, kill him. Throw him in the river. But the girls saved them. I guess he wanted some more maids. I don't know. What were the midwives' names? Shiphrah and Puah. Why didn't they do what the king told them? Because they feared God more than they feared him. That's a wonderful thing. What did they tell him when the babies was born, that the Israelite women had the children? They said, oh, they're so active, they're so lively that by the time we get there to deliver the babies, they've already had them and took care of them. So what did God do for these 2 midwives, Shiphrah and Puah? He built them a house, didn't he? And when the daughter of Levi had a son and saw he was a goodly child, what did she do? She hid him. How long did she hide him? 3 months. But then, what did she do for this baby? She made an ark of bulrushes, and then she put the baby in it. She daubed it with slime and mortar then, and pitch, She put him in it, put him in the river. See, the river represented death, because that's what he was wanting, is all the boys to be killed in that river, thrown in there. But God takes the situation in the Bible and turns it around and does exactly the opposite of what the people are wanting him to do. So the mama, she puts her baby into that river of death, trusting that God's going to do something for him, because she saw something special in him. Who stood by to see what was going to happen to this baby? His sister. What do we think her name probably was? Miriam. That's the only one recorded in the Bible. But when she was there watching, who came down to the river and why? Pharaoh's daughter, didn't she? And why did she come? To bathe herself. They didn't have the indoor plumbing. When she saw the baby, what did she do? She got her maid to go down there and fetch him, didn't she? And when the baby cried, what did she feel for him? She felt compassion, didn't she? And what did she do or say? Oh, this is one of those Hebrew children, isn't it? So then who showed up and asked her if she could help? It was his sister. And what did she ask Pharaoh's daughter? She said, would you like for me to go and get one of the Hebrew women to come and take the baby and raise it for you? And what did Pharaoh's daughter say? Yes, would you please? And she said, and I'll pay her. Don't worry about that. I mean, I've got plenty of money. I'll take care of her. That's pretty good, ain't it? So who did this sister go get? She got the baby's mama to come and do it, didn't she? So what did Pharaoh's daughter say then? She told her what she told the sister. She said, would you take this baby and raise it, and I'll pay you to do it. So the mother did. And then whose baby did this baby become? Pharaoh's daughter's baby. That didn't last a lifetime, I'll tell you that right now. We ain't going to get into that today. We'll go back to this lesson some other day. But what did Pharaoh's daughter name this baby, and why did she name him that? She named him Moses. And why? Because she drawed him out of the water. And that's exactly what the name Moses meant. Now, I know this is a kind of a short story, but I couldn't get in depth of it too much without telling you more of his story. But I wanted you to know the very start of Moses' life, the baby in the bulrushes. I hope you guys love this story. I know Miss Nancy does. And I appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you next time, okay? Bye-bye, kids.